to you by Blerdkast.
What's going on, everybody? This is me, Mark. I am here at Challanges Games and Comics, and I'm here with Tony, the owner of Challanges Games and Comics, and we're going to talk some nerd stuff. But first, this caught my eye. This amazing wall of just black comics. This caught my eye right here.
Indie Creator Shelf?
Yes, Indie Creator Shelf. Let's talk about this. What inspired you to want to put this into your shop?
Well, basically, you meet all these talented people at cons, but where are the people going to get their books besides going to a convention?
Right.
So I, know a lot of the indie creators, and I invite them to have their books here in the store. Plus myself, I'm an indie creator. So I definitely have to support, other indie creators.
Exactly.
So I used to be editor-in-chief and the founder of Terminus Media. What was actually the first company and stuff to publish Robert Jeffrey, and also Sean Damian Hill, which some of you guys might know.
Okay. So what is it like being a comic book shop owner? Because you're technically living like every 90s kid's dream right now. So I just curious, what is it like being here every day, running the shop and just doing everything that you do here?
Well, actually, it's kind of stressful. I'm actually literally here like every single day.
Yeah, I know.
And like I said, at this point and stuff, I started off and stuff, 30 years ago, doing this back in 1994.
Right.
And we started off just as a comic shop. Now at this point, we've grown and added so many product lines that I basically consider us a pop culture store.
No, you're exactly right. It's in the last 10 years since it's been a lot longer than that since I've known you. But you have let indie traders come in and do their thing. You have let small videographers like myself, like a lot of my other friends, come in and just practice and just do our craft. And you swear to God, you've never charged us a dime to come in here and just hold up your space. You have created a lot of positive momentum in the not only in the blurred space, but just in the nerd space as well. So yes, I do consider your shop a pop cultural icon here in the city of Atlanta, in the Georgia area, and it's not a lot of comic book shops in this area, to be honest. So the fact that you're here,
well, so you think that? I think like all of us are like in this area, the cab. Shoot, there's like 4 shops that are like 15 minutes apart.
Well, yeah, but someone first of all, seeing a black-owned business in this space is amazing because there's not a lot of black-owned businesses that operate in the geek space. So the fact that you've been doing this for this long is a testament to you. And I just want to thank you because you have shaped from high school to college to now, you have shaped and helped mold me in becoming this lovely blurred I am before you. No, seriously, I remember the days. I remember Dragon's Horde so long ago, but just coming to your shop and just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in high school and college, and I'm gonna save that for another video. Just traumatic experience playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I almost flipped the table here one time. But you do so much, and you've always been just a positive force within the community, and just very helpful and very outspoken about just being a geek and being POC, being black, LGBTQ. You have always been inclusive and just a wonderful person to know. So I just want to personally thank you for everything that you have done.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so. Unfortunately, we are here under not the best circumstances given what this weekend was. So let's kind of talk about the Urban Nerd Con a little bit. What happened?
That is pretty much up to the CEO, Roy Mitchell, to answer the question of what happened.
Right.
I can talk about it from my viewpoint as a business person, and what I observed is what happened.
Okay. So again, this was the second year the con was supposed to take place in Atlanta, and for the second year in a row, it was canceled. This time 24 hours out before the event was supposed to start, which, contrary to last year, it was the Monday where the con got canceled and everything happened. Writer strike, a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. But this being the second time it's happened, it kind of hurts the brand of this con a little bit. If just being honest, I don't want to say it like that, but a lot of people were looking forward to this because of everything that was promised.
Here's the thing. Right. Okay, since you brought up, a lot of people were looking forward to this.
Right.
All right, let's break some stuff down here. All right. Basically, especially when you're doing something in a hotel. All right, which is why when I was doing the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, I never, I did it for 5 years, but I never tried to take it to the hotel range.
Right.
Because this is basically the way it works. All right, to use the ballrooms and the panel rooms of hotels, you either have to pay an exorbitant amount of money, or you have to fill up your room block. All right, so I can tell you that with this show, the room block, all right, was nowhere near filled. There was a grand total of 8 reservations
Out
on
of
the room block.
Out of how many rooms to fill on that block though?
I don't know how many the block was. That
Okay.
information I don't know, but I do know that there were only 8.
Okay.
And 8 people reserving rooms for a convention does not pay for any ballrooms. It does not pay for any panel rooms.
Right.
Nowhere near.
Right.
Okay. And especially this time of the year and stuff, when like a hotel knows it's like, hey, we can hold a prom in here, and those rooms will get filled up.
Right.
Oh
yeah, you're right.
So them like cutting the cord on Urban NerdCon was like an easy decision.
Right.
Because they can make a lot more money letting somebody come in and do their prom and fill up the rooms than a convention that didn't even fill up 10 hotel rooms.
Right.
All right.
That definitely makes a lot of sense.
All right. Then, of course, there was a scramble to find a new location.
Right.
Now, the new location was found. All right. But the new location still costs
Money.
Okay. And I will just say, which is like really sad, because, there were more people who pre-ordered tickets to the first one in Montgomery than ordered tickets for this one. The number of tickets that were pre-sold for this convention were under 100. I think it was around the 80-something range of people who pre-bought tickets.
Wow.
So out of all the people who said they were looking forward to this, they weren't putting their money
Where their mouth was.
All right. And like I said, you opened it up. So I gotta spill it all out.
That's why I'm here, man.
All right. Even here, all right, we had 10 vendors here at the con. And everybody was talking about, hey, go and support the vendors here at Challanges Games and Comics.
Right.
I never saw that crowd of people coming to support the vendors here at Challanges Games and Comics. All right. The people who I saw mainly buying stuff were the regular customers of Challanges Games and Comics. And one of the situations and stuff is too, I'm gonna put it out there, a lot of the sales went to people that didn't have natural tans. All right. So even with me offering the vendors free space and there being a place for people to come in and support the vendors, the support didn't happen. And it didn't cost you nothing to come to Challanges Games and Comics
No, it didn't.
and come and support the vendors.
It did not.
And, the support did not come through the door.
That's unfortunate.
And the guys were here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was plenty of opportunity for people to come through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you don't believe me, I just reach out to the vendors that were here.
Oh no.
They will tell you the situation.
Yeah, they've John Robertson from Scorpio, he's already expressed his concerns to me. I got a little information from him. But I kind of knew, because I've been doing my own digging, that the support was there, but the financial support kind of wasn't. Like, I understand you need to have a certain number of pre-sales, a certain number of pre-regs to really get a con up and going, especially the closer you get to the con. I did not know that those were the numbers. That's actually kind of shocking, and it kind of set something in my head that made me think, like, you're going too big too quickly. You went from Montgomery, and now you're trying to go to Atlanta, and you're going small town to big town really quickly without building.
Usually going to the big town is supposed to be a plus.
It's supposed to be,
especially
yeah.
with the population of Atlanta.
Right.
Now, by the same token, okay, now, like I said, Urban NerdCon is not MomoCon.
Right.
Okay, all right. You go to MomoCon, the city, the metro Atlanta, city of Atlanta, strongly supports MomoCon.
Yes.
There is no question that MomoCon is supported.
Right.
But then again, a lot of the people and stuff are fans of anime and manga.
Right.
And cosplaying as anime and manga characters.
Right.
And people always say, hey, we should create our own, and people will come and support. So here you have people who had created their own.
Right.
But where were the people to come in and support?
I think a lot has to go into that. Like, one, where was the marketing, the promotion for the con? I've already talked to Roy about this, and I'll let him tell his side of the story. But I work in media. No major outlets, no outlets in Atlanta was picking up the news story of the Urban Nerd Con. Nobody was talking about it except like some YouTubers like myself and you, of course, because you were helping promote the con. So there wasn't a lot of promotion there too to even get the name out there, because nobody knows what the Urban Nerd Con is here in Atlanta. Everybody here in Atlanta who I talked to thought this was the first time they're ever doing anything, and they know nothing of the history of what happened in Montgomery and its success and the people involved. Everybody just thinks, hey, Urban Nerd Con is happening. Oh, it didn't. Second time around. We understand last year was writer strike, but now this time you have no excuses. And the cracks were...
Oh, there was an excuse.
I know. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice.
That was an excuse. He had an awesome guest lineup. All right, these people, Tim Russ did a video inviting people to come see him at Urban Nerd Con.
Yes.
This thing had gone out on Facebook. It went out on Instagram. People did TikToks.
Yes.
Okay. All right. People were sharing it. He had like 70 vendors scheduled. All these 70 vendors who were pushing out stuff about it. He actually did graphics for each one of the vendors.
Yes.
To push it out there.
Yes.
Okay. So, how is it that no one heard about it? But of course now there's this negative press about it.
Right.
And it's streaming all over the place.
Exactly.
It's like all out on Black Twitter.
Right.
But so you're noticing the negative stuff, but no one noticed the positive stuff?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I kid you not, Friday, once I just accidentally going online, not even looking for the drama about what everyone's talking about, all you got on every social media app was Urban Nerd Con this, Urban Nerd Con that, this is a scam, Roy is this, Roy is that, and I was like, people were coming to me because I was promoting the con, thinking I had something to do with it, and asking me, why did you cancel the con at the last minute? I had nothing to do with it. I'm just a press outlet, just like a lot of other people.
I had no control over it anyway.
Right. I had no control over it, but I felt inclined to like, hey, I don't want this to be one of those drama-filled things. I know there's more to this story, and I just wanted to investigate and just figure out, find some answers. You gave me a lot of answers just now, and Roy is going to give me even more. I've already talked to him privately, but he's going to give me an exclusive, and we're going to talk about it. But you brought up something that was very interesting. Like, this is Atlanta. This is Wakanda. This is essentially one of the blackest cities in America.
And voted the nerdiest city in America.
Did not know that. I've been preaching that one for years, and no one has been believing me. They're like, oh, look at New York Comic Con. No, Atlanta is the nerdiest
New York
place.
Comic Con. I've been to New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. Dragon Con blows them all.
I know, right? All right, that's a whole nother thing. But
remember, I've been involved in Atlanta fandom since 1983.
Yeah.
I actually started off as a staff photographer for the Atlanta Fantasy Fair back in the day.
Oh my God, I gotta talk to you about that because so much history with you there.
And I remember going to the con and stuff, and I can count the number of black people at the con on my fingers.
Oh yeah, even up in 2006 when I started going and it was Dragon Con, I'm like, it's like 10 of us here, and we're all in the basements of the Hilton and Hyatt. Which, again, shout out to Black Geeks at Dragon Con. They have done amazing work, but I talk about diversity in Dragon Con and cons a lot on my channel. And one thing, just me personally, I have noticed, like, for all as black as Atlanta is, as geeky as it is, why isn't there any black and POC representation in the con space to highlight black excellence in geekdom as well as in just pop culture in general? Like, this is Black Hollywood. I hate saying this. Tyler Perry Studios, all the South was the jewel of the music scene in the 90s and 2000s. We don't have like something to culminate all these things together and show this is Atlanta, this is black excellence, this is the Urban Nerd Con. So I was super hyped about this con for like the last 2 years. and super disappointed the last 2 years, because I feel like just personally the city needs something like this with what he was bringing to the table, the amount of guests that he was bringing to the table. He was basically bringing half of the 90s with him to this con, and now I fear because of everything, we may not get that again. I feel like the reputation has been hurt a little bit. The brand has been hurt a little bit. Other celebrities might hear about this like, oh, that's that con that keeps getting canceled. I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to put my name on it. And
but think about it though.
I know.
You got all these celebrities and everything and stuff that were coming and then put their name on it, and people still weren't what? Buying memberships.
That's true too.
Okay. All right, like I said, he had enough out there and stuff that 70 vendors contacted him about getting space.
Right.
And of course, they all heard about the con.
Right.
All right. And they spent the money for their tables and everything for the con. Where was the fan support for the con? And think about it. Like I said, I did my show, the Atlanta Sapphire Fantasy Expo, for like 5 years before the pandemic basically shut it down.
Right.
Okay. I didn't spend any tremendous money out there advertising. All of our advertising was basically Facebook, Instagram. Okay. And I still had like, 50 plus vendors, 6 hours of programming, thousands of people showed up for the show. Okay. That went off and worked fine. I didn't have any big name guests. Okay. I had like maybe a few, voice actors and some cosplay people. All right. And the singing voice for Sailor Moon, because another convention got canceled and she came on down and, joined my show.
Right.
All right. And we had cool stuff like little maid cafes and stuff like that. But I had tons of people to show up for that. But it was also free to the community.
Right.
But all my vendors were happy. The very first show we did, they asked me could we do another one in 6 months. So people came, people spent money, the vendors were happy. This show, again, hotel, you got guests coming in, you need people to buy tickets.
Right.
All right, to help. Because when you got guests coming in, you got to cover their airfare, you got to cover their hotel. Then they have a minimum that they need to make for signing autographs. And if they don't make it, then the convention has to cover what's left.
I didn't know that part. That's very fascinating too.
Yeah. I actually had a conversation with somebody on Facebook about it because they were talking about the math didn't add up.
Right.
Well, the math can't add up if you don't know what goes into the math.
That is true. That is definitely true. Let me ask you this. So you say the fans weren't there. Where do you think the disconnect of the support on the fan side came from? If a lot of people were interested in going to this con, there was a lot of interest in it. Why wasn't a lot of money put where the mouth was when it comes to the fan side of it?
I don't have the answer to that.
I know.
I don't have the answer to that. But like I said, they show up at Dragon Con, they show up at MomoCon,
they show up at Ranger Stop and Pop, which is fairly new and got very successful very quickly. Granted, it's a very niche thing that should have been successful. But I feel like Roy had a lot of obstacles and a lot of challenges. And personally, maybe he was trying to do too much too quickly, or personally, between me, you, and the rest of the internet, maybe was just trying to do everything at once and not delegate tasks and have other people there on the team to help him out. The director of venue, director of guest relations, director of media relations. Like I keep telling my audience, I feel like this was a combination of just a series of events that just didn't quite go right that caused this to be canceled versus this was a scam, Roy's a con artist. I don't think that's the case.
Neither one of those was the thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I will straight up say stuff, and anybody and stuff who was on his team, they will tell you that, I'll be honest, Roy didn't use us. He tried to take a lot of the stuff on, himself. Like I said, when I did my show, it's like I couldn't have done it without my staff.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I did it the first time just to see if I could do it. And then my staff was like, well, what are we going to do next year? And then I was like, what do you mean next year? It's like, well, we got to keep doing this.
Right.
So I had a team and stuff behind me that, kept me on the straight and narrow and made sure that the show kept happening.
Right.
So you have to have a good team together. You can't do everything yourself.
No, I agree. And you would think after the events of last year, that would have been a lesson well learned and you learned from, but clearly it seems like no.
It actually went the other way.
Wow. Okay. Because we have a lot of mutuals. We know a lot of people who do cons, who do really good at cons in what they do. I'm not going to name them here. They know who they are. Because she's tired of me bringing her name up in business like this, but so many good people that we know was giving so much good advice and trying to help out as best they could, even though they couldn't do more because of other cons, other obligations and things like that. And it just seems like all the advice, all the experiences went in one ear and out the other. And he just had an idea and he was going to do it his way, and if it didn't go his way, it just wasn't going to happen. That's just kind of what it seems like from everything that I've been hearing and what I've been digging up and piecing together. I don't know where I was going with that. So let me ask you.
You would get no denial or confirmation from me on that part whatsoever. As you said, you've got that one-on-one interview coming.
Oh, yeah. And I definitely got some questions. I know you got some questions. So let's take this opportunity right now to just talk to Roy. Just as me and you talking to Roy. What would you want to say to him? I'm sure you already talked to him. So
he's been here all weekend.
right. I know you talked to him, but so I'm going to do this exclusive with him. I don't want to sit there and roast him or grill him or just kind of get up into him about it. But at the same time, I do understand the circumstances. I've already talked to him before. In your opinion, next year, what is it going to take for this con to happen next year?
Oh, I don't have an answer for that at all.
I kind of figured. Because he keeps saying it's 2025 is going to be the year it's going to happen. And I'm like...
Well, the great thing about him, he is an extremely positive person.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You need to be an extremely positive person, but you also got a lot of cleaning up to do and fixing the brand. It's kind of... Last year, we could be understandable. We can be understandable. Even with the stuff that happened behind the scenes, stuff with the writer's strike. Fool me once, cool, we got you. We can deal with that. But now it's the second in a row. Even if it does happen next year, it's not going to have the same impact. You're probably not going to get the same amount of guests, especially from what we had lined up this year. Would it even be worth it doing it after this?
I think it would be worth doing it. It might not necessarily be, Roy who does it. It might be somebody else that has to do it. But like I said, the city of Atlanta stuff, we've had stuff like Blerdkast. Okay, we've had, Onyx Con.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, we've done a lot of those different conventions and stuff that happened, multiple years, but none of those were able to grow to the vision that Roy had.
Right.
Okay, and there might be a reason for that. As I always tell, anybody, you can talk about what you want, but it's not going to happen if you don't put your money behind it to happen.
Exactly.
And I kind of this is not even comic related, but look at the Martin Luther King monument in DC. Mm-hmm. If you went to any of the other monuments and stuff in DC, and you look at the Martin Luther King monument, the Luther King monument is minuscule.
I was there
compared to everything else. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
As many, black millionaires and billionaires in the entertainment and, sports and, industries, y'all raise money and this is the only thing you can come up with? If you don't put your money behind it, it's not going to be as great as you want. Okay?
That's a good line right there.
Right. Like I said, you've been hanging in my store since we were on Memorial Drive, and Dragon's Hoard.
Yes.
All right, which was 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay, I moved there to North DeKalb Mall, into a spot that was 3,700 square foot.
Right.
Okay, now I'm in a store that's literally 8,000 square feet. Okay, I couldn't have done this without support.
Right.
and having people and stuff that come in to help me grow. But unfortunately, again, they also, besides putting in their time, they supported me with money.
Right.
All right, without money, you wouldn't have this spot.
Right.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to offer it to people to come and use for free.
Right.
If I didn't have people who were coming to the store and spending money. All right, if you say you want to support this stuff, and you want to have something that has black guests, okay, or you want it on a certain level, you have to spend the money.
Right.
Okay, like I said, there's black, there's white, but unfortunately the way things work, the most important color is what?
Green.
Green.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't want to make it all about money,
right,
but you can't do anything
without money.
No,
you're right. We live in that society
right.
that none of us agreed to be a part of, and yet here we are.
So, if you want something in a hotel, all right, you have to rent the rooms from the hotel in the block so that they give the convention the space for free.
Right.
Okay, so that they can hold your panel rooms, your ballrooms, your dances, all that stuff.
Right.
Okay, if you want all of these guests to come to your show, you have to spend money on the membership so that the guests can be flown in.
Right.
And get to stay in a nice hotel.
Right.
Okay, and be there at the con. And then of course you got to also, buy their autographs to help pay for their appearance fees to come to your con.
Right.
So, as you saw, everything that I mentioned that makes a successful con all came down to you doing what? Spending money.
Right.
And you can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna wait to come, at the door. It's like, no, they need money
before the door
opens.
Right. This is crazy. This is so crazy. On the one hand, I didn't know it took so much that goes into making a convention, as far as money, as far as getting guests together and things like that. A lot of people talk about, hey, we're going to do conventions and we're going to start this and that, and they have no idea where to even begin. Even talking with Roy and just getting his input behind it, I'm just like, there's a lot more that goes into this, and there's no way you as one person can do it by yourself. There's no way you can go in without sponsorships, without donations, without some type of support from the community to do a convention. Unless you're just a big back convention, unless you're like a corporate con and you just already got money piling in from somewhere else, like your Atlanta Comic Cons and things like that, your generic wash cons. If you're going to do a fan con, you're going to need the fan support, and ultimately fan support equals
right. And like, even if you get like investors want the what? The ROI, the return on investment.
Yes.
Okay, even if you get the government behind you, the government still wants the return on investment. All right. So they might give you money, but they're expecting it back.
Right.
Which means people have to do what? Spend money.
Do you think it's something within the black community in Atlanta that just doesn't want to spend the money? Which is weird because this is Atlanta. I've gone to lesser events and people spend money left and right. So where do you think the disconnect within the community and just the not wanting to spend the money comes from?
I don't think it's necessarily a don't want to spend it, but like I said, people spend money on what they want to spend money on.
That is true.
It's like, okay, this, like I said, okay, I want to record again. There you go. All right. Okay, like I said, I don't want to get in trouble with the community because, like I said, I definitely depend on the community.
Right.
All right, but I have gone to like the first year Urban Urban, and I took a lot of this stuff and action figures of black characters, for people at Urban Urban so they can buy the material. The products that sold at the convention was basically everything that I had that was anime related. Up here at Tucker, I went to the Juneteenth event. I took all of this stuff. Again, all the stuff that I sold was anime related stuff. Okay, people spend money on what they want to support. All right, right now, anime is hot. True. This, they're not dropping the money on. All right, so that is the community having their priorities. You know, like, to me, I think, like I said, there's been talk and stuff about me bringing, you know, my show back.
Right.
All right, and I've already, you know, thought about it and just decide whether or not people are going to convince me to actually do it. What I already know is that I need to have it heavily cosplay based,
Right.
and have it involve a lot of anime stuff.
Right.
This stuff will still be here, but I know what brings people in the door, all right, and what they're going to spend their money on. And then hopefully there's a trickle-down effect.
Right.
And some of this stuff gets moved too.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. Because on the one hand, I know in black culture, anime is the hot ticket item. It's kind of been like that for the last 20 years, but the fact that it's even more mainstream with the younger generations versus my generation is insane. But one thing I constantly hear, and I've talked to some of the vendors about this already, like, there is a market for black creator content, black creator comics, but they don't want it from the indie artists. They want it from your Marvel, from your DC. They want it from your big publishers for them to get behind it. And even for that, they don't want copycats of like heroes just turned black. They want original characters that are black and representative of the readers, but the creators, the big Marvel and DC, they're not going to make original black characters or POC characters. They're just going to color swap their main characters that they already have already, and that in itself is also a problem. But it just seems like,
all right,
go ahead.
I have to disagree with you there.
Okay.
Remember, I do this for a living.
You would know more about it than I do. So
okay. Now, we have to go by the trends of what sells here in the store. All right. Things, they come out with and try original characters. All right. They don't sell. Okay. And even for a while, when they basically take a black character and put it over an archetype, it might sell for a little while, but then it basically will drop off.
Right.
All right. When Disney, you know, acquired Marvel, all right, they went and they started coming out with, because people said they want more books with female characters.
Right.
All right, they want, you know, more books with characters of the LGBTQ, the few letters I'm probably missing, characters. Okay, and they want books with like other nationalities.
Right.
The main companies like, okay, we hear you on the internet, and they put the books out. Guess what?
They don't sell.
They don't sell. Again, you can ask for change, but if you don't back it with
the money,
things go back to the status quo.
That is true.
All right. So, again, people might say one thing, but then they spend their money on the other.
Right. That's insane. So, what's the takeaway here? What do we learn from this experience with the Urban Nerdcon and just our conversation about the community and stuff and support? What's the message to take away from all this?
Well, my only message is and stuff, you can talk all you want, but if you ain't backing it up with action in the form of a situation like this, cash,
right,
it don't mean nothing.
Right.
It's lip service.
I agree. I definitely agree. Thank you so much for
no
coming
problem.
on. Why don't you tell the internet where they can find you at? Online?
Oh shit, they might be mad at me now. All right, I'm Tony Cade. I'm the owner of Challanges Games and Comics, and we're here at Northlake Mall in Atlanta. And you can just go to internet Challanges Comics. Sorry, I even messed up there. Challangesgames.com. You know, to contact us.
All right, this was fun. I'm going to look around some more. I'm definitely going to try to spend some money here while I'm still here and while you're still open. So thank you so much, man.
All right, no problem.
Like, just so much. Thank you for everything you have done over like the last 30 years, because you've been in my life for a very long time, and I just appreciate it.
If I wasn't feeling old enough as it is now.
All right, but thank you.
All right, yeah, we're good one.
All right. right.